Hi beautiful, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I wanted to do a makeup look using the products I purchased from the Philippines 2 years ago. It's crazy how long ago that was, but these are the products that I purchased when I did a huge makeup haul. So these are technically not made in the Philippines, but are mostly the products that are sold in Philippines. So I've already applied my foundation and concealer, and I have set my under eye with this Nishido loose powder. I know a lot of people rave about this, and I do actually love it. So for the rest of my face, I have not really set that. So I rediscovered this FS, which is, I believe this was used to be called Fanny Serrano, but now they've changed the name and rebranded it to Features and Shades. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the powder foundation in the shade Toffee. And this is what it looks like. This is relatively new. Now it works out pretty good because my foundation is a little bit lighter than my face at the moment, and I have a lot of things that I need to cover that will add more coverage and also mattify my skin. It's a nice powder. So I think this is one of those things where you can use it with a wet sponge. I personally don't like using wet sponges on compact powders, so this will be a good touch-up powder. It smells like an old lady, I'm not gonna lie, but the powder itself, it feels velvety. It's quite smooth to the touch, and it doesn't really accentuate the dry patches that I have, especially on this chin area right here, which I absolutely love. Now this product is not new. I have used this when I did the full face of makeup from the Philippines, and this is the EB Advanced Blush Duo, and I have traveled with this duo a few times. As you can see, it's quite beat up, especially the bronzer shade right here. I love the shade of the bronzer because it has that red tone shade, so it acts as a good bronzer as well as it gives me that sun-kissed glow. It's quite pigmented, so you have to be careful in applying that. Since I have a lot of textures, I like to pat the bronzer on my face as opposed to me just swiping it all, because it will get rid of the coverage that I've already put. But I do love this bronzer, especially now that it's summer in Wellington. I could definitely get away with using this as a blush bronzer because it gives the most beautiful bronze to the skin, as well as it adds color to my skin perfectly. And I'm going to apply a little bit on here. And the blush is so beautiful. It's this coral pink. Again, this is quite pigmented, so as you can see, just a little tap and it picked up a lot of products. I like to put that above. I don't like to apply blush on the apples of my cheek because I feel like it kind of drags my face down, so I like to apply it up. The coverage on this pimple right here has kind of disappeared, so I'm going to go back to the FS powder foundation and just concentrate it on this area. Perfect. For the highlighter, this is actually marketed as a blush. I don't know why, but this is the Jazzy Pro Matte Baked Blusher. There's nothing matte about this compact because it literally has got the nicest sheen. It's that one right there, and I thought that would be a good highlight. I am going to pick up this brush right here and apply that on my face. It's a little bit powdery, so just be mindful of that. I love this like white gold type of highlighter. That's so pretty. I can't believe that I have not tried this. I was actually cleaning my makeup collection earlier today, and I've discovered this, and they are still in their packaging, so I thought I would do this video and do like a first impression on camera. Right, the next product that I am going to try out is this brow cushion. Now, I have never ever tried a brow cushion before, and this is from the brand Share Wheel. So this is an eyebrow cushion, and this is what it looks like. Oops. So it comes with a mirror and this thing pops out, so you could basically buy a refill of this. And I think the concept of having a compact is that it's easier for you to apply your brows when you're on the go. And it comes with this teeny tiny dual-ended brush and spoolie which folds, and I love the fact that the middle is quite big enough for you to hold, and it's not going to slip inside because you have that like nib right there where you can rest your finger like that. And the shade that I have is 02. Honestly, brow products in Philippines in general are pretty hard to come by because most of them are on the warmer tone. I personally prefer my eyebrows to be cool tone, so this is what it looks like. It has a little bit of warmth to it, but it's not too warm where I would totally go out of my way and not use it. But I am going to start with the darker shade and pop that here. Oh my gosh. Okay. I have to act quick. This thing is potent. Oh dear. Oh no. I don't like a choppy brow. Oh no, it has a little bit of warmth to it. Like, I really don't like warm brows because my hair is pretty cool toned. But it has this thing where it's like taupey, so maybe I could try that and salvage it. I'm gonna have to use my brow pencil to make it a little bit cool tone, but honestly, this is not a bad product. Like, at first it's very intense, but you could totally blend it easily. And the spoolie works because most of the time it's very hard to have a functional spoolie, and it makes it spread the product evenly. Now, like, I kind of got a hang of this side right here, so therefore it's not that intense as this side, but now I'm gonna have to even them out. The brush is not bad. The cushion, however, it would have been better if they have a better shade match for my skin tone. Other than that, it's fine. Oh, that's some intense brow. So personally, it's not bad. Like, I do actually love how it applied on the brows pretty quickly. The brush is quite functional. The only thing I don't like is the tone of the brows, and also this thing right here is quite messy. As you can see, like, it went all over my finger, but I could always go past that. The palette that it came with is quite functional, though every time I open the cushion the whole thing pops up, so I would probably take this by itself and take it off the whole palette thing and just maybe like stick the brush on top. I find that it's a lot easier that way rather than having this whole palette, because every time you move this thing pops up. So this is basically one of those palette where you can make your own. So you buy different shadows individually and then you get like a palette like this that you could put the shadows together. So these are the shades that I picked up. I like how these three are very neutral, and then you have a pop of yellow. The quality of the palette itself, it's quite cheap for how much I paid. This is quite expensive, and not all of this fits perfectly. Like, I find that it pops easily. The concept that they have is pretty similar to the Bobbi Brown make your own palette, which I actually have. Same with the mirror and pretty much everything. The only difference is that you could actually tell that this palette is cheaply made, but we will see how these hold. I think I might go straight with somewhat a smaller brush because the shades in here are quite dark. So I'm going to pick up this Morphe M330 and we'll go to this shade Espresso. Oh, it has a little bit of kickback, so, and I am going to pop that. That's not bad. It patches off on this area right here, so maybe I should use a different brush. So I'm going to try and use this XO Beauty Tulip Crease brush. Pop that shadow over here. That's a lot better. Gonna have to even now. So you can't really tell, but this side of my face has got more light. That's why it appears that the shadows are quite sheer, but they're relatively even. So I'm going to go back to the same shade and try to deepen up this part of the eye. And I am going to apply that on the lower lash line as well. And I'm going to pick up a angled brush and use this shade called Ash Bronze, and I'm going to do the liner. And under here, just to frame my eyes a bit. For the lid shade, I really wanted to try this yellow right here, so what I'm going to do is to try and use this brush right here to pack on the color. It's quite sheer. I want it to pop. Maybe I'll use my finger. So this eyeshadow looks so pretty on the pan, but on the lids it's very sheer, which is quite disappointing. I want it to be like yellow. And I'm going to go back with the brush that I used before with no product to just blend everything. Feel like that's just how far we can push the shadow. So for the lids, I'm going to pick up this shade called Glamour Peach, which is a not so peachy. It's more of a white gold with a hint of pink. I actually quite like that. It's intense, which is what I look for. Like, you have to really rub the pan to get most of the pigment. So I'm just gonna quickly put on my lashes and then I'll come back and do my For the lips today, I have this lipstick from EB Advanced as well, and this is in the shade Kylie. So this is their Advanced Supreme lipstick, and this is what it looks like. It's a nice brown toned shade and it's quite sheer, which I can definitely make it work because my lips is somewhat this shade. So I'm not gonna put a lot. I'm just gonna dab a little bit and blend it out. So here is my full face of makeup using the products that I rediscovered. I'm not gonna lie, even though it's kind of disappointing, I'm still quite obsessed with this eye makeup look because it's perfect for summer. And even though the shade is quite difficult to work with, I feel like I can get away with just having that nice subtle pop of yellow for everyday. And this is usually what my everyday makeup looks like anyway, except for that pop of yellow. And I love the subtle liner. The two matte shades in this palette are amazing. They're quite powdery though, which I don't really mind for the most part, but they work just as great, and I could definitely use this to fill in my brows as well. In terms of the cushion, I feel like the shade is growing on me. Like, I love the fact that it made my brows so defined, and if you look up close, it doesn't look too Sharpie like. It still looks quite normal and natural, but it's quite filled in. The highlighter is actually one of my favorite. Well, not one, this is my favorite out of the bunch. It's so pigmented. It's a little bit powdery, but it doesn't really show up as powdery on the skin, if you know what I mean. Like, it blends beautifully on the skin without no doubt, and it gives you that metallic highlight, which I like. I also love the shade because it has that white gold shade, which I like, and I've been loving highlighters recently and I have collected quite a few, so I'm glad that I finally put this to use. The lipstick is not my favorite, but it's actually a pretty decent lipstick considering on how much you pay. The packaging itself does not feel or look cheap at all. It looks quite expensive and good quality, and yeah, it's a nice lipstick. I can't wait to get more shades whenever I go back for a visit. The powder, I have talked about this before on my first impression. This is a great powder. The only reason why I don't reach out for this because I try to use up the powders that I have purchased first before this, but it's a good powder for setting my face. It doesn't look cakey. It sets my makeup beautifully. This powder foundation is great as well. The only problem that I have is that in Philippines it's quite hard to find a good golden tone powder. This has got a little bit of like peach to it, but if you apply it sparingly, it looks great. Like, it looks a little bit ashy at first, and then it like oxidizes and turns into like a peachy tone, which is not my favorite. It feels a little bit cheapy looking like the eyeshadow palette, but the product itself is great. It's velvety. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel for more updates, and I'm trying to ease back into making more videos, so please stay tuned and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.